He was just 7 years old when they put a wooden sword in his hands. They told him there were only two outcomes that truly mattered: kill with honor or die with grace. By the time he hit 30, the wars had pretty much stopped. The grand castles went quiet, and that razor-sharp blade he'd spent 2 decades perfecting suddenly had no enemy to meet. So, what then? How does a man whose entire identity is built on the battlefield survive when no one needs him to kill anymore? A samurai's childhood was a boot camp, heavy with the weight of generations. Boys often left home as young as 7, trading family for relentless sword drills and lessons on loyalty. Attachment, they believed, softened the crucial edge a warrior needed. The first time he felt a live blade, he was barely 12. It was heavier than the bamboo stick, but what truly struck him was the profound silence it brought. His teacher whispered, "Every cut you make isn't just about steel. It's a question you ask yourself. Am I brave? Am I willing to finish what I start?" By 19, he could quote the Analects of Confucius while balancing on a frozen rock. It was proof a true warrior wasn't just lethal. He was literate, disciplined, and utterly composed, a hurricane contained within a teacup. The handle of that cup was Bushido: justice, courage, benevolence, respect, honesty, honor, and loyalty. 7 words you could rattle off in seconds, but spend a lifetime trying to truly live up to. Bushido wasn't some scroll you signed and forgot about. It was a bill you paid every single day. Miss a payment, and shame compounded. Justice might mean settling a peasant's tax dispute at dawn, only to cut down his cousin for hiding rice at dusk. Courage wasn't the absence of fear. It was acting decisively even while your hands trembled. Benevolence felt counterintuitive. You'd spend years training to kill, then learn precisely when not to unsheath your blade. Respect covered everything, from the precise angle of your bow to the way you served sake, because the moment itself deserved your complete humility. Honesty was so prized, a samurai's spoken promise was a legal contract. In 1615, a samurai named Yamamoto promised a merchant he'd deliver rice by sunset. His horse collapsed at noon. He carried 60 pounds of rice on his back for 6 hours, arriving bloody-footed but on time. Why? Because his word was literally worth more than his body. That's the weight of honesty in Bushido. Break it, and you were considered legally dead. Honor was the public ledger, and loyalty was the roof holding everything else together. The code could bend like bamboo. In wartime, courage took precedence. In peace, benevolence. The true mastery was reading the wind, knowing which virtue to prioritize before circumstance brutally told you too late. When failure loomed, a devastating battlefield defeat, the death of your lord, or a political disgrace, a samurai had one final terrifying card to play: seppuku. Outsiders often call it harakiri, or gut-cutting, but within their world it was a ceremony, equal parts grim courtroom and profound theater. You'd bathe, don pristine white robes, perhaps compose a final death poem, and sit before witnesses. The cut itself was just the first act. Blood would warm the mat, yet you had to keep your face utterly composed. A grimace meant you feared death, a contradiction for a samurai. Standing behind you was the kaishakunin, or second, his sword raised. His grim job was to end your pain mercifully before dignity could slip. When done correctly, the head hung forward, attached by a strip of skin in a final macabre bow. Only samurai were granted this privilege. It was a mark of their rank that erased debt, restored a family's reputation, and could even serve as a powerful protest. Your dignity in death became your family's most important resume. Then came the Edo period, a remarkable 250 years with almost no foreign war. Armor began to collect dust. Swords transformed into fashion accessories, and the fearsome samurai morphed into a tax collector, a meticulous secretary, or even a school principal. Most experienced a deep, unsettling vertigo. When your entire resume proudly proclaims professional killer and the market suddenly closes that division, what is left? They doubled down on paperwork, poetry, and the tea ceremony. Anything to keep their minds razor sharp. The core virtues of Bushido survived this drastic career change. Justice now meant ensuring fair tax rates. Courage manifested as standing up to a corrupt mayor. Take Tanaka Shigenori. At 35, he'd killed 12 men in battle. By 37, he was managing tax records in Edo. His hands, trained to grip a katana, now gripped a brush. He wrote in his diary, "I wake up every morning reaching for a sword that isn't there." But here's the twist. Within 5 years, he'd become the most feared tax auditor in the province. Why? Because when a corrupt merchant tried to bribe him, Tanaka simply placed his hand on his empty sword belt and said, "I still remember how to use this." The merchant paid his taxes. Bushido didn't die in peacetime. It just changed weapons. The smarter ones, the truly adaptable, reinvented themselves as scholar bureaucrats. Their swords stayed home, safely sheathed, but the silent, implied threat of their honor kept petty corruption in check. They learned the hardest lesson any warrior can face. Sometimes the most honorable thing you can do is simply die of old age. Honor fully intact, sword peacefully sheathed. If you're finding this walk through the quiet carnage of samurai life as fascinating as we are, hit that subscribe button and stick around. History's always easier to digest when it comes with a dash of humanity, right? And don't forget to tap the bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. The Meiji government officially abolished the samurai class in 1869. Swords were banned, but the code of Bushido didn't vanish. It simply slipped into new uniforms. You'd find its spirit in police forces, military academies, and eventually in the corporate boardrooms of modern Japan. Justice became company mission, loyalty transformed into lifetime employment, and honor was rebranded as brand reputation. Visit Japan today and you'll still see it. Trains that genuinely apologize for being 2 minutes late, and CEOs who resign after a single scandal, declaring that responsibility is heavier than profit. The cherry blossoms still fall, whispering a timeless truth. Success is fleeting, so do the right thing anyway. The samurai story doesn't really end with the final epic duel. It ends with us, every time we choose between cutting words or kind ones, between convenient lies and difficult truths. The weapons change, but the wind of human nature doesn't. Every time you keep a promise that costs you something, every time you admit fault when blame could easily be dodged, you are, in a quiet way, continuing a lineage that began on frozen training yards centuries ago. Because honor outlives the blade. The real edge was never just steel. It was and always will be the unwavering will to hold steady when the world around you wobbles. That is the way of the warrior, and it still fits perfectly inside ordinary life today. That 7-year-old boy with the wooden sword? He's still here. Every time you choose the hard right over the easy wrong, you're holding his blade. The training never stops.